This time on Rust&Wrenches. The familiar clicking of a bad CV joint. Common problems developed from worn and torn CV boot baffles. The solution? Brand new half-shaft CV drive axles. I chose to go with Cardun's Select new CV complete axle assemblies, models 66 4060 for the driver's side and 66 4064. From years of remanufactured OEM products. This process they call Cardun Select Engineered Technology, or CSE. The CSE process identifies and corrects original design flaws, resulting in longer lasting, reliable new CV axles. Only time will tell. I believe this is the third time these drive axles have been replaced on this car since I purchased it used in 1998. But it's the first time I've attempted replacing them myself. At first, I had a hard time reconciling the fact that these parts have been replaced so many times, but after fully realizing the sheer amount of stress these parts are under with the environment they're in, and the crazy number of revolutions that the bellows and the joints endure, I can appreciate the fact that parts do wear out. And it's quite normal to replace these many times if you've got a vehicle this old. After all, vehicles are hardly designed to last forever. I have to say, it wasn't a terribly difficult or technically challenging job. It was a dirty job and a bit time consuming for me, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and I saved a ton of cash from having a mechanic shop do it. So let's get started. First, I inspected them to make sure that they were in good order coming out of the box. I was glad to see that the axle nuts came with them, as that they are destroyed once you take them off of the old one.
.32mm.
Since the axle nut is staked down to the spline shaft of the axle, I needed some serious leverage. So I picked up a 25-inch, half-inch drive breaker bar and its 32mm impact socket. I'm also incorporating some scrap steel pipe as a cheater bar for extra leverage. Only after standing and bouncing on the end of the cheater bar with all of my body weight does the nut finally break free. I do the same thing on the passenger side. Now that the axle nuts are loose, I can get the car up off the ground. With the car up on jack stands, I go ahead and pull both front wheels and tires. In order not to damage the end of the spline shaft by mushrooming it out from hammers and such, I use the axle nut as an impact point by screwing it back onto the axle a handful of thread lengths. This is particularly useful if you plan on reusing the same axles on any other job. With me banging on the end here, the axle is supposed to move or recess back through the hub assembly, but this side wants to get in trouble by not budging with my... Yeah, that's a framing hammer. Hey, it's what I had. Some PB Blaster penetrating oil on the spline threads should really help here. After moving on from the framing hammer, I tried a block of wood and my dead blow hammer. Yeah, that didn't work either. That might as well have been a piece of styrofoam. On to the steel pipe and the dead blow. More PB Buster. Getting nowhere, I pulled the brakes and the rotor to get down to the hub assembly, where I pulled out my 2-jaw, 5-ton adjustable puller. Stop rotating. I need something to hold it in place. I'm sure you professional mechanics are cringing here with my misuse of tools and safety concerns with this method. Speaking of safety, I'm going to put on the safety glasses just in case this flies off and hits me in the face. Wouldn't that be something? So after beating on this thing for a couple hours, I think I finally made some progress. I heard a really loud pop a second ago with this setup, basically using my long breaker bar and my socket, wrench and socket with my cheater bar on the end of it. So basically exerting force up there on the end of that bar and pushing down on that one. It was really tough. And then finally and it's soaking that splines in there with some PB Blaster. I did finally hear a pretty loud pop, and it started easing up. So thank you, puller. Next, I pull the cotter pin and the castle nut on the lower ball joint. Bent up, sort of straight. Probably could be used again, but I won't. $17mm. To break the ball joint loose from the lower control arm, I just beat the crap out of it. No pickle bar or pry bar needed. Be sure to hit what the ball joint goes through, not the ball joint itself. The 3-pound dead blow hammer is a great tool for suspension work. Face it, Axel. You are defeated. Just let go. capacity. PD blaster didn't get in there though. That's good. Helped out a lot, I bet. Alright. I'm lucky I had a puller. Now for the inner side. The inner side is much easier. With a pry bar against the transmission, it pops right out without complaint. Just like that. In order to get the drive axle out of here, I gotta get it past this fork. So it doesn't gonna fit through there. What I need to do is take two ratchets, 17mm sockets on each side. I hit that with PBR. PB blaster. A few times, a few days earlier, I knew that could be problematic trying to get this bolt out. Free at last. Now for the passenger side. More penetrating oil. PB Blaster is my friend. Much easier. this ball joint is slightly more stubborn than the other side. Next order of business is to set the old next to the new and compare them. I need to make sure that the size and the spline count match. Need to do a stare and compare. I thought some anti-seize lube would be a good idea here, or maybe the next time these things have to come out. Let's get those new axles in the car. If the shaft doesn't want to go back into the transmission right away, don't panic. Just do a quarter turn, try it again, back it off, quarter turn, try it again. Try not to be too rough. You don't want to damage the seal. Click. Yeah, buddy. There's a little bit of white lithium grease right along here. I'm gonna wipe it off this seal though. On the metal, everything coming back to the back of the bearing. Seems to be rusted up. Good on the other one, so. Just reversing the process at this point. Once the splines of the axle are fed back through the hub assembly, I set the lower ball joint back into the lower control arm.
Nut and new cotter pin.
The rotor and brakes are put back on this side. Now, with the new axle going back in on the passenger side, I want to say I didn't lose much transmission fluid with this change at all. However, I did pick up 3 new quarts of genuine Honda MT transmission fluid, but I'm just going to do a transmission flush soon anyway. It's never been done on this car that I know of. Quarter turn, try it again. Quarter turn, try it again. Quarter turn, try it again.
So one of the last things I've got yet to do to close this project up is to tighten down these axle nuts on the new axles. And once that's tightened down, I'll stake the nut to the spline there. And to do that, my dad let me borrow his torque wrench, which torque wrench is something I don't own yet. So he has graciously provided his torque wrench for me to get the bolts tightened down. Now, I found out from my particular application on this Honda Civic is that nut requires 134 foot-pounds of torque to get it properly set. So on the torque wrench I have, it's got both foot-pounds and, let's see if you can see that, Newton meters.
And now that they're torqued to spec, I stake the nut to the axle. And that's it. I want to thank you all for checking out how I swapped the axles on the Civic. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did doing it. If it helps you out, or if you have questions, suggestions, or comments, then I'd be glad to hear from you. And until next time, at Rust&Wrenches, take care, everyone.